church. Everybody good? Welcome, Columbia, online. Listen, people all day long, I've had to address this. People are like, all right, dude, I'm trying to listen to the message, but what's with the suit? And I dressed up today in honor of the mothers. So if you're a mother, seriously, I was like, you know what? Today's Mother's Day. I'm going to honor my mother. I'm going to honor every mother here. And so here tonight at the Anderson campus and in Columbia, if you are a mother, I want you to stand to your feet and remain standing. And let's give honor to these great women. A lot of moms in the house tonight. Stay standing. This is awesome. A lot of moms. Now, I did this earlier today. I don't know how well this is going to go. Sit down unless you're a grandmother. If you're a grandmother, you remain standing. And look at this. Y'all, let's give the grandmothers a hand. Now, I'm really curious. This happened today, and there were some, and I'm just really curious here in Columbia. Everybody sit down unless you're a great grandmother. Are there any great grandmothers? Any great grandmothers? Here. Amen. Wow. Welcome to NewSpring. Oh, we're just pumped. Hey, listen. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, looking at them standing, you're like, well, I wonder how old they are. It doesn't matter. They're old enough to know how to take you out. That's all you need to know. Seriously, we're honored that you're here tonight. You may be seated. That is awesome. Wow. Now, I ask all the mothers to stand. I'm going to tell you something about moms that most of us intuitively know. And if you're a mother and you stood, you're going to be tempted to get angry with me, but I just want you to listen to me as I explain this. Moms are weird. Just a little bit. And I know that you've got a weird mom story, because we all have a weird mom story. I've got a weird mom story. My mother, I knew her till I was 12 years old, and then she went to be with the Lord. But she took me to church every week. Every week, my mom took me to church. And I didn't get to go one of those churches where they had an unbelievable children's ministry like we do here at NewSpring. Because your children right now are loving them some church. Amen? Okay? Like, aren't you glad, moms, that you don't have to sit in an auditorium going, sit down, shut up, sit down, shut up, sit down, shut up, sit down. I mean, you might have to do that with your husband, but at least you don't have to do that with your child. Right now, your children, I'm telling you, Karis, my soon-to-be 4-year-old little girl, she came out of NewSpring today, and we're like, what'd you learn? And she was like, fruits of the Spirit. And I was like, all right, what are the fruits of the Spirit? And she was like, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I got my Bible. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. That's good, baby. But in the Greek, what that means is, I was like, wow. And you know what? Your children are receiving not babysitting today, but ministry. And so, but I didn't grow up in a church with that environment. I grew up in a church where the children came in the auditorium, and you had to shut up and sit there. And some kids got to bring coloring books. Some kids got to bring crayons. Some little boys got to bring the Hot Wheels cars. My mom was like, you're going to shut up. You're going to sit here. You're going to listen to this preacher. Now, you might find this hard to believe. I had a problem paying attention when I was a kid. I had a problem sitting still. I had ADD. And I would be moving all around and stuff. And my mama, see, I was a fat kid. And I know you're not supposed to say fat today. You're supposed to say fluffy, big boned. I was fat. I looked like one of those little Shar-Pei dogs, those little dogs you get. That's what I looked like as a kid. I'm not even making that up. So my mama would reach over, if I was moving and stuff like that, she would reach over with this finger. Some of you mamas know this technique so well. This finger, this thumb, and get some skin right there. And what you do is you just roll it. And when you roll it, what this does in the other person, it elicits a response that sounds something like, wow! Now, see, we were in a Wesleyan church. You didn't do that in a Wesleyan church. In a Pentecostal church, you get points for that at certain times. But in a Wesleyan church, you don't get, and I would be like, what? And Mama would be like, boy, you better shut up and sit still. And I'd be like, well, quit pinching me, woman, and I would. But for some reason, moms thought that would work. Moms are weird. Listen, try this tomorrow at Chick-fil-A. You can't try this tonight. Try this tomorrow at Chick-fil-A. Walk by a group of moms. They're usually at Chick-fil-A. They usually get there between 11:30 and they stay there at 2 because their kids can play for free. And walk up to a group, and there's about 6 or 7 babies there, and walk up to the group and go, hey, ladies, I don't mean it, but I smell poo-poo. And just walk away. Every mother will grab their child and sniff the child's rear end. That's not normal. Like, never in my life have I walked in the office and went, hey, yo, dog, come here. I think you might need to go check. Or some moms stick their finger in the diaper. No, come on now. Don't let, now, you've done it. You've been like, ooh. We've got to go to the changing room. Moms have bad ideas sometimes. Let me show you a really bad idea that a mother had right here. This has to be a mom's idea. Dressing your family the same for pictures. Like, none of the men are excited. Like, none of the men. The guy on the far left looks like he's having a little gas, but everybody else, nobody walked out of the room and said, oh my gosh, we're wearing the same thing. And this definitely wasn't a man's idea. This was a woman's idea. Let's wear white and khaki. And it just doesn't work. Women, mothers are just a little weird. Now, you might be here and you're like, praise God, I knew I liked this preacher. My mom was weird. I knew my mama was weird. You might be a teenager here tonight and you're like, I know my mom was weird. You don't even got to tell me my mom was weird. But can you tell me why my mom was weird? And I can tell you exactly why your mother's weird. You. You did that to your mother. Your mother used to be somewhat normal. And you showed up, and when you showed up, you triggered the weird hormone in her that is not going to lit until you get out the house. That's the goal, by the way, to get the kid out of the house. And so, usually on Mother's Day, we have a lot of fun here at NewSpring. And in fact, for the past several years, we've given away a house to a single mom about 2 or 3 years in a row. We've given away some cars. Last year, we went in and remodeled the former abortion clinic. Some of you will remember that. It was unbelievable. You can go back and watch all those online. And this year, we actually put a website out and said, what's your dream for your mother? And we wanted to make some mothers' dreams come true. And by the way, we did that. We were able to step up and meet some needs of some mothers in our church, and it was unbelievable how the Lord opened up the doors for those opportunities. And we were heading down the road where I was going to come out and introduce it. We're going to do a video thing, and we all cry at those, and those are great. But the Lord took us in a different direction. Two things happened. One was on Twitter, and if you don't know what Twitter is, just ask anybody that's like 14, 15 years old. They can explain it to you. Twitter is a social media a thing that a lot of people are into. And so I put a question or a statement out on Twitter, and we had mothers literally participate from every campus in answering this question. I just said, mothers, help me complete this sentence. The most challenging thing about being a mother is ... And we had well over 100 responses almost immediately. I mean, they were just firing in. And moms, we could have ran all 120 or 30, however many came in. But I just want to run 4 tonight, and I want you to see, if they just connect with any of the mothers. I want you to just see if they connect with you, ladies. These are some of the things that Mom said. For me as a mother, it is difficult to watch my children struggle with decisions that are theirs to make. I can't do it for them. It's pretty real, isn't it, moms? To watch your kids go down a road and know you can't make their decisions for them. Or the next one, my case as a single mom, Dad hasn't been seen in 5 years. So the hardest thing is having to wear all the hats all the time. It's a challenge, yes. It's a challenge. Another mother said the constantness of it, spouse, kids, homework, somebody always needs something. And then the last one, this mom said, mother challenge, feeling like I have to be on 24/7, feeling selfish when I take a break, feeling tired when I don't. Like, that connects with every mom in the room. Every mom in the room. And so just by observing my wife for the past 4 years, sitting down with some mothers, and after all these things began to come in on Twitter, the Lord literally led me to the Gospel of Luke. If you have your Bible, go to the Gospel of Luke. The Gospel of Luke chapter 1, one morning in my quiet time, and what was funny is I wasn't even reading in the Gospel of Luke, but the Lord just took me to Luke chapter 1, and I began to read the story about Mary, the mother of Jesus. Now, moms, if you think you've got a tough job raising your kid, how would you like to know that you're actually going to be the mother of Jesus Christ? Now, I mean, that's what, like, you can't pull some of the stuff you pull on your kid with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You can't look at Jesus and go, hey, guess you think you're perfect, don't you? Because he would be like, I am. That was really funny. Some of y'all got that. Some of you get that later. See, in the Bible, he said, I am, and it meant he was God. And okay, lead balloon. Stay with me. I read this passage of Scripture, and I was like, oh my gosh. There are some things that the Lord says through an angel to Mary that I believe every mother needs to hear. Not only do I believe every mother needs to hear this, I believe every father needs to hear these things. Not only do I believe every father, but I believe every soon-to-be mother needs to hear these things. Not only do I believe every soon-to-be mother needs to hear these things, I believe that everybody who has a mother, that should pretty much get everybody, needs to hear these things. So tonight I'm going to walk through 5 things in the Scriptures that God told Mary through the angel Gabriel that, mothers, I believe it's going to connect at a very real level with every one of you. The first thing I think every mother needs to hear and understand, number 1, is the Lord is with you. The Lord is with you. The first thing every mother needs to see, hear, and understand is the fact that the Lord is with you. Now tonight I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in the history of our church. I'm going to be preaching out of the King James Bible. I'm usually an NIV guy. Have nothing against the King Jimmy. Love the language. But that 1611, we don't talketh that wayeth anymoreth, and soeth. I usually don't speaketh out of that version. But tonight, and I'll kind of wrap this, I'll bring it back around at the end. I'll tell you why. But tonight I really do want to preach out of the King James Version of the Bible. So the Lord is with you. Let's pick it up in verse 26 of Luke chapter 1. The Bible says this. And by the way, if you don't understand a phrase, I promise you I will explain it. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused, that basically means to be engaged, to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored. Every mother, listen to me, being a mother is a position that is highly favored of God. Let's keep reading. He said, The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. The Lord is with thee. In other words, ladies, that God told Mary through the angel Gabriel, the Lord is with you. Now let me tell you why that's so essential for every mother to understand. Because there's some moms here tonight, whether you're here in Columbia or watching online or listening on the podcast, you feel all alone. You feel all alone. And I'm not just talking about the single moms, because we know the single moms feel alone because, listen, the dude left and we don't know what the story is there, and we saw the Twitter thing where the one guy hadn't been seen in 5 years, and we know single moms feel alone, and that is a very real feeling. But do you know that there are married women that feel alone as mothers? I had to learn this the hard way. I learned it through something that Lucretia, my wife, taught me. When Karis was born several years ago, it was kind of cool because in the hospital, and some of you remember this, if the kid starts crying, all you got to do is push a button and they'll come get the kid. Remember that? They'll come get the kid and take it out of the room, and you could go to sleep for a little while, or if you wanted to sleep at night, they'd come take the kid and take it to the nursery. And Lucretia had a C-section, so we got to stay at the hospital like a couple extra days, and they didn't let us stay there for free, but we got to stay there a few extra days. So when we brought Karis home, and I remember walking in the door, we were there for a little while, she started crying. and there wasn't a nurse to come and get the baby and take it to another room. And Karis didn't have a button, because that's why men like power tools, because we like to turn things on and off. And if there's no button, we don't know how to operate it, okay? That's why a lot of men, and so she's crying, and men can't handle crying females, period. We don't know what to do. We freak out and pee our pants. And so we're like, I don't know what to do with this. It won't shut down. So when the baby is crying and you can't get the baby to stop crying and the daddy's holding the baby, help me out, ladies. What does daddy always do with the baby? He passes it to mama. Oh, I'm preaching. Passes it to mama, because you know why? We think mama knows what to do. I remember handing Lucretia going, well, dude, shut it off. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, you're a mom, because I thought you're a mom. Like, you had 9 more months with the baby than I did. You know, it was in you. Maybe couldn't you like a broker to deal or something about this will shut you up? And I thought that she absolutely knew what she was doing. She absolutely knew everything that was taking place. And so I did what every man does typically when you bring the baby home and you don't know how to respond to the baby. I dove into work. I began to work harder. I began to leave earlier in the morning. I began to come home later at night. When I came home, I would clean up the kitchen. I would make the beds. I would vacuum the floor. I was doing everything around the house. And I remember one night, about 6 months in, my wife tells me, Perry, could you just sit with us on the couch, hang out? I was like, well, baby, I got work to do. And she's like, I'm lonely. Do you know moms? Dads, you know why when you come home and you're like in the 4th episode of SportsCenter? Which, by the way, bro, you don't need 4 episodes of SportsCenter, okay? The same freaking thing happens every time. Watching SportsCenter one more time will not make the Braves win. All right, maybe, okay, come on. Oh, he still struck out. Yes, it's the 4th time you've watched it. You know why she's talking over the television? You know why she wants to talk to you? Because all day, this is what she heard. Mommy, 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 mommy. Mommy, 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 mommy. That was like the first 30 seconds of her day. There's some women that feel alone. There's some single women that you feel alone. There's some married women that you feel alone, and your husband don't know how to handle that. Listen, the best thing you can do is sit down on the couch and just be there with her. There are some mothers that you're an empty nester, like you raised your children and your children have left the home. And by the way, we're supposed to call that a win in America, okay? That's a win when you can get them to successfully move out. Some people have boomerangs, you know what I'm saying? You throw them out, they come back, they throw them out, they come back, you throw them out. But they've gotten married, they've moved away, and there are some mothers you feel alone because you feel like I'm not a mother anymore. Which that's a lie from the devil. You're still a mother. You're still a mother. And in fact, your job's never over as a mother. And you feel alone. But here's the beautiful thing about the scriptures. If you are in Christ, meaning there's been a time in your life where you've prayed to receive Christ, you recognized that you were a sinner separated from a holy God. You confessed Jesus Christ as Lord, like we talk about nearly every Sunday here at NewSpring Church. You said, Jesus, I can't pay for my own sins. I'm trusting in the payment that you made on the cross for my sins. You confessed him as Lord. You became a believer. You became a follower of Christian. You got saved, became a Christian, whatever tiger label you want to put on that. And you said, I will surrender to you and follow you for the rest of my life. Then the promise that we have in Christ, according to the scriptures, is God is always with us. In fact, God has said, I am with you. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I am always with you. Mothers, you are not alone if you're in Christ, because he is with you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. The Bible says in Psalm 23, I can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. Why? For you are with me. Mothers, when you're up late at night holding the baby and it's crying and you don't know why, the Lord is with you. When you're a single mom and the dad has walked out and you can't figure out where he is or what you're going to do, the Lord is with you. Listen, ladies, when you feel like your husband has dove into work and is never around, I'm telling you, the Lord is with you. And I know sometimes you can't feel it, but when you can't feel it, you got to know it. The Lord is with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. That is a promise we have from the Word of God. Number 2, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Now, I know this is going to come as a surprise to many people in this room tonight, but mothers have a fear gear. Sometimes it's completely irrational. There are some mothers that can actually make up complete scenarios in their mind within 3 seconds that God hasn't even thought of yet. It's unbelievable. But you know why mothers have a fear gear? Once again, their kid did it to them. How many mothers here tonight have ever been embarrassed by their children? Raise your hand, be honest. Oh, wow, that's every mother. My mom, my mother and father, I was actually born in California. I'm sure you could tell by my accent. And when I was about 2 or 3 years old, we moved to Nevada. Now, you got to keep in mind, the primary influences in my life, the first 4 to 5 years of my life, were my father and my uncle, who cussed like crazy. A lot of people speak a second language. You got Rosetta Stone and stuff. My second language was cussing. I could cuss with the best of them. I was a great cusser at 3 years old. And so keep that in mind. My mother, once we got to Nevada, we'd been there for 3 days. My dad worked at the job for 3 days and quit. I'll tell you about that another time. It's very interesting. But we moved into this trailer. And the first Sunday there, of course, we went to church. And after we went to church, the pastor of that little church came by the trailer like the next day to visit. And so the pastor is in the living room with my mother visiting. And my mother wanted me to come see the pastor. And so my mother hollers down the hallway, "Perry, come in the living room. I want you to see the pastor." And my father and my sister both told me. I took off running out of my bedroom. I ran down the hall, tripped and fell, hit my head on the coffee table, and as I got up, I said, "Son of a," but I finished it. Now, moms, what went through my mother's mind at that exact moment? Something like, "Dear God, kill me right now. Rapture me, Jesus. Come, Lord, quickly." All the Revelation passages right there. Mothers have a fear gear, and listen, your kid, because every one of you have been in public with your kid, and your kid begins to notice something and goes, "Mama," and you're like, "No, don't say anything. Don't touch anything. Stay still." It's a conversation some of y'all had with your kid in Walmart this afternoon, isn't it? Now, God knew that mothers was gonna have a fear gear. That's why he said this in this next section, verses 29 and 30. "And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying." This is when Mary saw the angel. "And cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be." In other words, I don't know what the heck he's talking about. The Bible says in verse 30, "And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God." Fear not. Fear not. Do not fear. Fear not. Do not be afraid. Fear not. Did you know the phrase "do not fear" or "fear not" is actually in the scriptures 366 times? That's one for every single day of the year, including leap year. God is telling mothers, do not fear. And you know what, mothers, you know what I've discovered? And just watching mothers, especially, mothers fear what other mothers think of them way more, many times, than what God thinks of them. Have you ever noticed that? Mothers base their success or failure as a mother on the performance of their child. And I can understand that. I totally get that. I totally understand that. Because when your child makes a D or an F, moms, some of you feel like a failure. Your child makes a bad grade and you're like, "I'm such a horrible mother." And I'm like, maybe your kid didn't study. Just a thought. I had a mother one time that came to me. She's like, "I'm a horrible mother." I'm like, "Why?" She said, "I was running on a treadmill the other day in my house, and I'm running on the treadmill like her 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old son came up behind the treadmill and stuck his hand in the belt." See, every mother's like, and every dad's like, "Dumb kid." That stuck his hand. It's a difference. Got like really like second or third degree burns on his hand. And she's like, I'm a horrible mother. And I'm like, unpack that for me. Okay, I would think you're a horrible mother if you cut on the treadmill and took his hand and went, wah. That's jacked up. But have you ever thought about it might be your kid's fault? There are so many mothers. I wrote a couple things down in my Bible tonight. Mothers fear failure. I'm going to fail as a mother because, and here's the reason and we'll get into this the next point, a lot of mothers call themselves a failure if their child doesn't do what they want them to do. A lot of mothers fear comparison. Come on now, I'm not even going to ask you to raise your hand, but you compare yourself to other mothers. Oh my gosh, honey, she buys organic peanut butter for her children, and we don't. That's why her kids are so smart and our kids are so stupid. Because they eat organic peanut butter. They're going to live longer. They're going to own the company, and our kids are going to work for them. And it's all about the peanut butter. Now, we laugh, but we lose our minds. Mothers compare, oh my gosh, they live in that house. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, we went bicycle riding the other day, and little Johnny had on a bike helmet, but her kid had on knee pads and elbow pads. And mothers fall in the comparison trap. And you get so scared of what other mothers think of you, you lose sight of what God thinks of you. I know mothers that fear their kids finding out their past. I've had moms ask me, what if my kid finds out my past? I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where the kid found out something right in front of you. True story. I didn't even tell this in the other services today. I was at a dinner one night with some church members, long time ago. We're sitting around the dinner table. It's the dad, it's the mom, it's 3 kids. It's me and Lucretia. This is before Karis was born. We're all eating dinner and stuff. And I asked the husband, I was like, and the wife, I was like, how long have y'all been married? And they said, 9 years. And their 10-and-a-half-year-old son, I watched him out of the corner of my eye, and he went, and I went, no, this is not going to happen right here, right now. And he went, Mom, Dad, how is it that y'all have only been married 9 years and I'm 10 and a half years old? And I was like, somebody want to pass those potatoes? Have you ever just immediately started pouring sweat? Like my underarms, it was like a shower, you know what I'm saying? And the mother and father answer the question, but I've had mothers go, if my kid knows what I did in my past, and here's what I would tell you. And Lucretia and I have this policy in our home. We never lie to Karis. We never lie to her about anything. She asks a question, we answer it. It's hard sometimes. But moms, I would tell you that by you sharing your past with your kids one day, it might prevent them from making some of the mistakes that you made when you went down that road. Be honest with your kids. Be honest with your kids. Well, they might throw that in my face one day. They might. It's not on you, it's on them. Mothers, you cannot fear failure so much that you lose sight of what God thinks about you because you care so much about what other people think about you. Which leads to number 3, he will be great. Mothers, once again, you might find this hard to believe. Mothers sometimes can be really controlling. Don't point. And don't amen. But I've heard a rumor that it's slightly possible that mothers can lean toward the controlling thing. But you know why? Because for the first 5 to 10 years of your child's life, moms, weren't there days you felt like your main responsibility was to keep your kid alive? Because you can't baby-proof your house. If there's something that can injure your child in your home, your child will find it. And you're like, oh my, if this kid actually lives to be a teenager, he or she might be great. I've got some friends who are actually on staff at this church, and they said they were all sitting around their living room one night having a great family night, had some company over, everything's good, they're kind of hanging out. All of a sudden, all the lights in the house go, and they heard, and they're like, what just, they looked around, the 4-year-old boy's missing. They're like, where is it? They go, they look up the steps, at the end of the steps, the 4-year-old boy is sitting next to a light socket with a key that he had decided he needed to stick in there. There was a hole in the wall about that big where fire had shot out, and his hair was sticking straight up, and smoke was coming off of his head. His mother told me his hair smelled like smoke for a week. And every mom has that story. And so what happens, moms, is moms tend to be like, I got to control things, because if I can control things, then my child will actually not be killed by the time he or she is 15 years old. But mothers, I want you to listen to me, and then let me explain myself. Your job as a mother, your calling as a mother, is to move from control to influence. Every mother in the room, listen to me, there's got to be a point where you move from control to influence. Because I want to say a word here, and it's going to sting a little bit. Some mothers here, the reason your 20 and 30 and 40-year-old children don't want to come around you anymore is because you never learned how to move from control to influence. You're still trying to control them. And there's got to be a point where you move from control to influence. Now, I want to stop and say this because we have a lot of teenagers attend this service, and a lot of teenagers are like, that's right. Go home, tell my mom, Pastor P said, you can't control me anymore. When you say that, be ready to move your butt out of the house, okay? Because while she's paying your bills, she controls you. She does get to call the curfew. She does get to say when you do or don't drive the car. I'm telling you. And by the way, and this teenagers, honestly, the Bible commands us 8 times to honor our father and mother. So don't do that. Don't do that. Now back to the moms. Control to influence. That's the transition that God says we need to make. Look at this. Look at this. Here's why. Look at this. Let's keep reading. Verse 31, and behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. Now look at this. He shall be great. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever and ever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Don't miss what God told Mary. God told Mary, Mary, I want to use you to bring him into the world. But Mary, let's not worry about your plans for him, because I've got a plan for him. And by the way, Mary, my plan for your child is greater than your plan for your child. And by the way, moms, God's plan for your child is greater than your plan for your child. Because whether you believe it or not, God loved your child before you ever knew him or her. God knew them. God custom designed them. God wove them together. God custom designed each strand of DNA in their body with a plan and a purpose in mind. And mothers, your main responsibility on this earth is to move from control to influence. Teach them how to fall radically in love with Jesus, because your child's greatness is not dependent on them submitting to your plans. Your child's greatness is dependent upon them discovering who Jesus is and what he wants for their lives. If we could get that down, it would be amazing. Mothers, you have 2 responsibilities: to model for them who Christ is and to mentor them in regards to who Christ is. Model for them who Jesus is. Model for them. Listen, mothers, If you will give up trying to be the perfect mother and just be the best follower of Jesus you can become, you will be an unbelievable mother. And then you got to mentor them. You got to teach them. I've had mothers tell me, I don't know that much about the Bible. Just teach them what you know. Read a little bit more and teach them what you know. You've got to learn how to move from control to influence. There are too many mothers that want to keep their kids safe. And mothers, listen to me. It's not your job to keep your kids safe, because God might be calling them to dangerously follow him. God has a plan for your child. And here's what I know, moms. He is with you. He won't let go of you. And he won't let go of your child either. He's that good. Which leads to number 4. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Have you ever seen a mother get overwhelmed and just have a complete meltdown? Oh my gosh. I've seen mothers lose it in Walmart. I don't go to Walmart a lot because the Bible says I don't have to go to hell. But sometimes I go there for sermon illustrations because I'm running low. But I'm telling you, mamas have lost their minds in Walmart. Have you, like a mama has 3 or 4 kids, and they're at the checkout line, and they put the candy right there at the kids' level. And they're like, put that there, get that magazine. Somebody stop! And you're like, whoa, that is awesome. I need to get this on video. I had a friend one time that had a mom, this is no lie. Every once in a while, she'd just get overwhelmed, and she'd go, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What am I going to do, Lord? What am I going to do? Did you just, you're going to count correctly. You start at 1 and go to 10. I remember thinking, oh my gosh. But moms, sometimes, you ever felt like you're in an impossible situation? Some of you would say, Perry, you don't know my situation. In fact, some of you would say, Perry, here's the deal. I want to be a mom. My husband and I have been trying to get pregnant, and we can't. Here's what I would tell you. Nothing's impossible with God. Nothing's impossible with God. I don't want to give you false hope and tell you that you're going to get pregnant. I'm going to tell you that I've seen couples try for 15 years, and finally it happens. Nothing is impossible with God. Perry, I'm a single mom. I don't think I can make it. Nothing is impossible with God. Perry, we just had a kid and our marriage is struggling. Nothing is impossible with God. Perry, I've got a rebellious son or daughter and they've gone down a road that's carrying them through destruction. I would tell you that nothing is impossible with God. We serve a God with whom nothing is impossible with him. Where do you get this? I get this, yeah. Oh, if y'all going to clap. I mean, go ahead. That's a good place. Look at what the scripture says in verse 34. Then said Mary unto the angel, how shall this be, seeing I know not a man? Now, some of y'all read that and we're like, of course she knew men. This is the King James way of saying, I ain't never had sex. I'm a virgin. In your Bible, if you're reading the NIV, it says I'm a virgin. Like, in other words, Mary went, all right, listen, Gabriel, I'm glad you're here and appreciate the shining light and the little toga thing looks good. That's awesome, but listen, I took a sex ed class one time, and I know where babies come from, and I've never done that. So I don't see how I'm going to have a baby. Then the angel goes on to explain it, and it's beautiful. And the angel answered and said unto her, the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. And skip down to verse 37 where the angel says, for with God nothing shall be impossible. Because Mary's telling the angel, I can't get pregnant. I'm a virgin. Virgins don't get pregnant. And the angel said, I don't need you to understand what I want to do in you, what God wants to do in you. I don't need you to understand it. All I need you to do is surrender to it. Because if you will simply surrender to what God wants to do inside of you, then don't miss this. What God did inside of Mary was supernatural. Something was conceived inside of Mary that she could not take credit for. It was not on her own work. It was the work of the Holy Spirit inside of her. It became obvious that she was pregnant, and pretty soon, after 9 months later, what God had done in her came out of her because of the grace and the mercy and the work of God. Ladies, God says, I want to do that same thing in you. I want you to surrender in me because God says, I want to do something in you that you can't take credit for. I want to fill you with the strength to get through what you're going through. I want to fill you with the wisdom to know how to handle what you're going through. I just need you to surrender to me, because as you surrender to me, the Holy Spirit inside of you will begin to produce something that you can't take credit for. It will become obvious in your life. Eventually, it will come out of you, and people will be able to look at you at a mother and say, that mother is a walking example of what the power of God can do in a woman that is completely surrendered to Him. Because nothing is impossible with God. You think you can't handle it? I know single moms, well, the man in my life walked out. No, a man walked out. The man is still there for you if you will confess Him as Lord and trust in Him daily. Nothing is impossible with God. Which leads to number 5. I'm the Lord's servant. I'm the Lord's servant. I'm the Lord's servant. Every mom in the room, I want you to look at me right now. I want you to look at me. God doesn't expect you to be the perfect mother, because you're not going to be. You are going to drop the ball. You are going to make the mistakes. It's not because you're a bad mother. It's because you're a human being. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. It happens to every mother. God doesn't want you to be perfect. He just wants you to be surrendered to Him. God doesn't want you to be perfect. God just wants you to be surrendered, because as I said earlier, let me say it again, as you surrender to Jesus, you will be an unbelievable mother. When you surrender to Jesus, you understand He's always with you. When you surrender to Jesus, you understand He does not let go of you or your child, no matter what either one of you are going through. When you surrender to Jesus, you realize you do not have to be afraid. When you surrender to Jesus, you realize that His plans are greater than your plans, and you teach your child to know Jesus rather than trying to control your child. And when you surrender to Jesus, you understand that nothing is impossible. And once again, you're not perfect, but you are surrendered, and the world needs more surrendered mothers. Mary heard all of this. It was very overwhelming. And her response in verse 38, and Mary said, "Behold, the handmaid of the Lord. Be it unto me according to thy word." And the angel departed from her. The NIV says, "I am the Lord's servant. I am the Lord's servant. May it be unto me as you have said." And that is powerful. Mary said, "I don't understand it, but here's the deal, Lord. I fully surrender to you." Mary was in for a tough time. Let me ask you this question. Do you really think everybody in that society bought the whole virgin birth story? She was probably ridiculed. She was made fun of. People thought she had been sleeping around. But Mary was like, I'm willing to go through whatever the Lord wants me to go through. I'm surrendered to Him. It's amazing what God can do with a mother that stops trying to be perfect and just says, I'm going to surrender. Now, it's Mother's Day, and today I want to just tell you a little bit about my mom as we close. I had a great mom, have a great mom. She won a battle with cancer in 1982. I say she won. A lot of people, when somebody dies from cancer, they say she lost a battle from cancer. But she didn't lose. She won, because cancer was the instrument that Jesus used to introduce her to Himself. And she's in the presence of Jesus today, and she's better than she's ever been. So I say she won that battle with cancer. This is a picture of me and my mom when I was about 1 or 2 years old. That's her. She's about 39 or 40 in that picture. I had somebody tell me this morning, when they saw the picture, they said, your mom sure was beautiful. I'm like, no, my mom is beautiful. You know, my mom wasn't perfect. She was not perfect. I mean, I could tell you crazy stories and all that stuff, but you know what my mom was? Surrendered. She was surrendered. My mom and my dad bought me a Bible in 1976. September 1st, 1976, actually. I was attending a private school, and it was a big Bible. And I was supposed to take the Bible with me every day to class, and we had a Bible class in my private school. But after about a year or two, they realized, man, that Bible's too big for Perry. It's bigger than him, and so they got me a little red Bible, and my mother took that Bible, and listen to me, every morning, I would get out of my bed and I would walk in the kitchen. My mother had brewed a pot of coffee, coffee cup, Bible open, reading God's Word. I'm quite sure begging Jesus to do something significant in the life of her son. I want you to know something. Till this day, mothers, don't ever underestimate your influence on your children. Because, by the way, you know what I do every morning that I've been doing every morning for years? I get out of my bed. I make a pot of coffee. I sit at my kitchen table. I read my Bible. And I can take it back to the influence of a mother that was surrendered to Jesus. And tonight, today, for the very first time, I preached the first sermon I've ever preached out of my mother's Bible. So I want you to understand, my mom used to sit at a kitchen table with this Bible opened, praying and begging God to do something significant. And I've had people say to me, man, I wish your mother could see you now. And my response is always, she did. She saw it. She saw it. And not only am I here, but you're here today listening to this message because one mother decided to quit trying to be perfect and simply be surrendered. Knowing that if she did, she served a God that would not let go. Father, right now, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every mother in this room. You are a great and awesome God who desires great and awesome things for your children. And Father, I pray for every mother in this room that may be feeling overwhelmed, that in the next few moments, Jesus, as we just reflect on this song that the band is going to sing, as we reflect of the promises of Scripture that we're about to see, that we will be reminded, Jesus, that you have not let go of us, that you have not let go of our children, and you are a great and awesome God who desires to do great and amazing things. Thank you, Jesus, that you don't let go. We ask this in your name. Let's pray. Father, I thank you so much for the promise in your word that you won't let go. But those you called, you will sustain. So one more time, God, thank you so much for every mother in this room. I pray for the wisdom and the courage and the strength for many to move from control to influence, for the understanding, Jesus, that you love their child and that you have great plans for them. Father, I pray for complete surrender. Jesus, on a personal note, I just want to thank you for a mother that was surrendered to you. great God. We love you, and we all ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, tonight we should have put a Kleenex in the bulletin. We're sorry about that. Try to get that next time. But mothers, seriously, listen to me. As you leave tonight here in Columbia, we've got a gift for you on this Mother's Day. We want to give you a bracelet. This is a nice bracelet. Like these Hosanna bracelets, I still wear mine. This is kind of like the plastic thing we got. I mean, this is nice. It's like the leather deal. I mean, it's nice. And on it says Luke 1:38, which is where Mary told basically the Lord, I'm your servant. And moms, we're just asking you to wear it every day this week. It'll be amazing. It'll be a great conversation piece for you know, taught. And moms, when you leave, when you exit out, there will be tables out there. There'll be places you can pick up a bracelet. A couple things we're asking. Number one, please don't get one for your 17 friends that weren't here. Oh, you know, Thelma wasn't here today, and we got to get her a bracelet. Well, Thelma should have came to church on Mother's Day. And so we're asking you to get one for you. If you're not a mother, please don't get one. We know they're cool, and some of the teenagers are going to want one. Please don't pick one up. These are for mothers. You pick one up. These are our gift to you. If you're a mom here tonight and you want to talk with someone, the service was kind of overwhelming. You feel like you need to talk to someone about receiving Jesus because you're not a Christian. It's kind of hard to surrender somebody you don't know. Or you just need to pray maybe for a wayward child or whatever. You know what? As you leave tonight, you stop by guest services and you go, I need to talk to someone, pray with someone about the service tonight. We would love to serve you in that way tonight or anytime this week if you want to call us or email us or let us know. But moms, seriously, it is not just your day, it is your year. We're trying to honor mothers 24/7, 365. And our prayer for you is you would continually try to honor the Lord. We're so glad you came to NewSpring Church. Come back and hang out with us next week. I promise you, we've got a very special treat for you. You're not going to want to miss it. I love you very much. Have a happy Mother's Day.